So they were in Manchester, New Hampshire on November the 6th for AEW Dynamite, and they just popped right up on the air with Tony Schiavone in the ring. They can't even get a wide shot of the ring anymore unless they're shooting across the ring toward the entranceway because they can't get enough people in the stands to do the wide shot. And in Manchester, New Hampshire, I mean, it's not exactly a giant metropolis, but apparently they got a big building because it looked like a hole in a snowbank. Anyway, Tony Schiavone introduced the Hurt Syndicate. And here they come, and you referred to this a second ago. The fans are already taken to them as stars. They're heels, but it doesn't matter. The people they're giving them the WWE fan treatment. They already know what to chant, when to chant it. When these guys come out, they look great. They're in suits. They're kick-asses. They look like fucking celebrities. And they act like it. And they talk like it in MJF's case. In MVP's.
Noted member of the Hurt Syndicate, MJF. Yes.
Well, now there's too many goddamn initials. You know what I'm saying? MVP. And the fans are chanting MVP, MVP. So then he says, well, I need no introduction. You know who I am. I am Montel Vesuvius Porter, otherwise known as MVP. And he introduces Shelton with his legitimate background and builds him up like a carnival barker, like a manager is supposed to. And Shelton gets a big pop. And then they were chanting Bobby before MVP even introduced him.
Yeah, how about that reaction? The reaction Lashley was getting from those fans.
Well, yeah, because he's a former fucking WWE world champion. And he was in the main event of WrestleMania and blah, blah, blah. And he looks like $1 million. Actually, in today's economic climate and the TV rights era and et cetera, he looks like millions of dollars. And MVP gave him the big intro, and he got a pop. And MVP cut the fucking promo. They are there to wreak havoc, and they were, they tried to, they tried to sign Swerve, but he said, here's what happens if somebody turns down our proposals, and they go to the VTR of them beating up Swerve. And he said, we didn't want to make an enemy of Swerve. Swerve wanted to make an enemy of us. And then, boom, here comes Swerve with Nana. And I have to be honest. I don't know what kind of deal Nana has with the coffee company. And I know they like to chant, whose house? Swerve's house, and etc. But in this case, I don't think he should have been dancing and holding his tallywhacker and doing all that because it was so serious. Because these guys are serious. That's why they're getting over. They're grown adult men. I'm talking about the Hurt Syndicate. They're grown adult men in a land of children that are obviously seeing that they just need to be serious and look like stars and act like stars, and they will be treated as stars. Revolutionary concept, I know, but it hadn't been tried often on this program. I think, go ahead.
Well, what did you think of Swerve, though? Because he came out there, he wasn't yelling or screaming or, doing anything. He was just kind of, I don't know, it was an interesting way he played it, him coming out there. What did you think?
Well, I agree that he, you don't want him to go ballistic and have his eyeballs popping out of his head. And when some of these guys go over the top, they look more insane than they do mad, right? But all he did was say, Bobby Lashley, full gear. And MVP's like, well, we'll see you there, kid. And also, because I don't care how tough Swerve is, there's Lashley and there's Shelton and there's MVP. They're kicking a shit out of Swerve and Nana, but I think it didn't need to be, again, the Gettysburg Address, but I'm I'm thinking that they could have come up with 30 seconds of something for Swerve to say that, you know, there might have been a little more pithy about what he was going to do about this situation.
I don't know. We've
And
seen Swerve on the mic a lot. He doesn't get to the point quickly ever.
well, but somebody could have fucking jotted something down for him. Just say this. How many times I've had somebody, well, I can say this. I just say this. Just say this. It'll be fine. But we'll see you there, kid. So Swerve is going to need some assistance here. Is he not?
Maybe,
The odds look
maybe
stacked
Nana
against him.
knows some coffee grinders that can get to work, some baristas looking for revenge. I don't know.
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the badass barista. Only Nana knows.
So we're a few weeks away from Full Gear, and it's pretty official, I guess. Bobby Lashley versus Swerve. Lashley's just coming in. It would be stupid for him to lose. Swerve kind of needs to not lose, but I guess that's the way.
Well, he better get used to the fucking idea. I mean, I don't know what else to say. My God, the penalty in Wrestler's Court for beating Bobby Lashley on his first fucking match in a company would be, I think, firing squad or potentially hand grenade shoved up the sphincter.
Should Bobby Lashley have any matches before then, or should they just have him coming out there in his suit with MVP and Shelton?
Well, he's already over. Aha! Hello, lady.
Bobby!
He's already over, is what I'm trying to say. He's already over. There's no... is it going to get him more over if he gets in the ring with one of these dipshits and hurt locks him in 2 minutes? Or even worse, if he was given some, guy from the land of Lilliput offense before his pay-per-view match, and it's fucking, as you mentioned, 2 weeks away. So, no, they know who he is. And they know what he did. Remember, that's an old William Castle flick from the 60s. I know who you are, and I saw what you did. Well, they know who he is, and they know what he did. And a lot of people don't think it'd be like it is, but it do.
One last thing on this, and of course, Tony Khan can always find a way to fuck up the most simple of things. But I actually think so far, even despite what Dave Meltzer said a few weeks ago that we talked about, I think Shelton's almost come across like a bigger star here so far than WWE.
Yes.
And a large part of that is the presentation and also the way the fans have been reacting to him. Do you think to keep that momentum, he should get a few wins between now and Full Gear, for instance?
Yeah, I think anytime you have Shelton going out and throwing people up in the air and suplexing them and beating them, it's good because he does have an image somewhat from the WWE that would need to be rehabbed. But there's two differences here that I see. Number one, as I mentioned before, this fan base is not used to an athlete of that caliber who's also that good of a worker. By terms of good worker, I'm not even talking about the athletics. I'm talking about that smart of a worker to know how to get his shit over and what to do in a fucking match. But also, at the same time, in the WWE, they had Shelton pigeonholed, and you see him being presented here as a stronger force as a single already, even though they beat him way too prematurely because all these things are rushed when they bring in new talent. But so, and also, to be honest, in the WWE, Shelton was not outclassing the entire rest of the roster in terms of size or athletic credentials to the degree he is here, but he's also being allowed to do more of his own shit and not have to be in there stooging for, guys the equivalent of Gargano and that ilk over there on the other channel. So it's meeting in the middle, and that Shelton is, to me, has gotten over better than any new acquisition that I can think of. Everybody they brought in new, and I will move on. But everybody they brought in new that's been over at the start has gotten successively less over. Shelton is continuing to get more over. Of course, Lashley just got here, so I don't include him. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you think they need another guy? Someone who can be the one to take some bumps and maybe take some pins?
And I wouldn't rush it and take some fuck. Just don't beat any of these motherfuckers for a little while. And, you know, and just concentrate on what you've got here, because you've got two singles or you've got a team and you've got a manager, and he can be looking for other people. But that can be a way for him to set up matches with either of the two people that he's already got. So there's no reason to turn it into the fucking NWO Wolfpack or whatever, just real quick. But that was that.
And I believe once again, after Dynamite, that was the most viewed clip from Dynamite on AEW's YouTube channel.
Imagine that.